now. Time to get up to speed on some of the notable commitments over the weekend and the last couple days as well. And start with Michigan, the defending national champions. They pick one up from top 247 defensive lineman Nathaniel Marshall out of the state of Illinois, number 73 overall in the top 247, number 11 defensive lineman. Drew, we haven't talked much about this one. You and I really haven't conversed a lot on Nathaniel Marshall either. Just your reaction to a guy that, started out higher on the board. We trended back in the most recent update, but a pretty intriguing body. And then you think about Michigan's lineage of developing defensive linemen. This kind of fits their mold a little bit.
Yeah, well, we always get it's always mentioned how we don't talk enough Michigan on this podcast. Up to number 36 in the rankings, right? I think it was their first commitment since early January for the defending national champs. No, I like it. I mean, you said the word right there, development. They can squeeze the most out of these guys. Nathaniel's one of the more high-profile defensive linemen they have picked up a pledge from in a while. And, I think last cycle was only a handful of top 247 recruits. I thought Miami was kind of a team to watch here. We've talked about the Hurricanes and what they've been able to do in Illinois and Chicago. I like to get Cooper. I think Alan True had kind of tipped it off to me that he thought it was going to happen when we were standing there watching all the quarterbacks on Sunday. I don't know. I mean, your thoughts?
I like him. I like the basketball background. I think the biggest thing with him, quick twitch, explosive, shows the ability to go speed to power. I think position versatile defensive lineman. Overall, pretty interesting in terms of where we saw him maybe a couple months ago. Now that he has tested during the spring, I think he tested in 2023. Hopefully we get another opportunity to see him here in 2024. In terms of the long-term early day NFL draft potential, I don't really see that type of guy. But in terms of a guy that can be a potential multi-year starter for Michigan, and I'll say this, like Michigan, every time they take a player, you're kind of forced to do a little bit more homework than you originally intend, because obviously their reputation precedes them in terms of being able to squeeze the most out of these guys. But I mean, in terms of logic, right? This is a player and a good one, a top 100 player within their geographical striking distance. So no issue with this whatsoever. And this is what Michigan should be doing. Drew, another top 247 player coming off the board. How about cornerback Shamari Earls from Virginia? You and I still making our way through the board a lot of bullets flying right now between 25, 26, handful of other things. But the number 115 player in the country, number 11 corner from Virginia, commits to South Carolina. And man, what a dandy this one is. I mean, just from a height, weight, speed profile standpoint, it's got everything that you want from a track and field standpoint. 10.87 in the 100, 6'2" high jump, 23.10 in the long jump, 6'3" in the 55 meter, not to mention he's 6'1" plus, and he's got two-way snaps, right? So this was kind of one diving in on this morning. This is a big get for Shane Beamer.
Oh, dude, I love this pickup. It is a monster addition for the Gamecocks. They only took one corner last year in the 2024 cycle, so they kind of needed to get a dude. In Shamari Earls, sitting number 11 in the cornerback rankings. I think there's a chance he could slide up the board here as more information becomes verified on him. But this just kind of continues a trend you're seeing with South Carolina. They're loading up with really good athletes on both sides of the ball, but I think more specifically so in the secondary. Shamari Earls, state champ in the long jump. The last state champion South Carolina took in the long jump was Jalen Kilgore, who played as a freshman for them in the secondary. I think this is a monster addition. Shamari checks the boxes off. I mean, he looks on tape like he's over 6'1", and then he's got a lot of two-way production. That shows up as well. The sprint metrics are there. I think this is a huge addition for them, and they've had a really good kind of few weeks on the recruiting front. Brian Rowe, the wide receiver, they picked him up. Anthony Addiston, in-state edge rusher with some developmental upside. DeMarcus Leach, under the radar safety with a massive frame. They also land him. So, wondering when Shane Beamer and then we're going to get it going on the recruiting front. Played their spring game over the weekend, big day. I think Shamari Earls is the gem of this class, and he's a big-time add.
I've not dug into this at all. This is just something I thought of, but it seems like Virginia every year. Handful of programs just take turns going in there. And, a couple years ago, it was North Carolina. They had a record year in Virginia with what they did. I think it was 2022. Um, and then you think about South Carolina getting involved there, and, Clemson's been involved there in the past. Penn State's been involved there. It just makes me curious. I feel like Virginia Tech would be one of those programs like, all right, if we're trying to take the next step, these are the type of guys that you would love to see stay home. And it's not like, with no disrespect to South Carolina, but South Carolina's coming off a tough year, right? This seems to be the type of player that if you're Brent Pry that you'd be going all in on, right? So I don't know. Virginia to me just kind of seems open for business. Like Tennessee a couple years ago, they go in there and they grab Cam Seldon, right? It just seems to be one of those geographical territories that has a lot of talent that no particular team has planted their flag yet.
Oh, Dabo and the Tigers are this cycle. They got 3 of the state's top 10 ranked prospects committed. South Carolina's got 2. Probably can lead on the crystal ball for Jalen Gilchrist. It's an interesting take there, Cooper.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if I was just one of those programs, whether it was Clemson, South Carolina, I mean, you can see both those two are making a concerted effort. I think Austin Alexander from Kentucky. I was thinking I got mixed up there, but North Carolina plucked him last week as well. So, yeah, something to keep an eye on as we go forward. All right, Drew, maybe one of our favorite guys, 4-star edge, Tyshun Willis, commits to Mississippi State, Magnolia State product. Man, just talk about a man-child, 20.5 sacks, two-way player, 6'1", 231. Got to see him earlier in the spring, ran 4.63, 4.21. Got a powerlifting background that I know you love. Just like when you see this dude, it's like, holy cow, what a man. Like he is a man-child. Not much made of it. Committed to Mississippi State yesterday morning. I don't think he was reporting his offers either. So it seemed like a prospect that should have a lot more going on. Decides to commit to Mississippi State. And this is a dude like Drew, I think 2 years from now, I think a lot of people are going to be looking up and be like, where did this guy come from?
Yeah, he's kind of one of those ones you see as you log in on Monday morning, comes across your radar. I think, 99% of America is like, all right, I don't know who this is, but hey, we're the 1% that does. If you know, you know. Tyshun Willis, take out the Sharpie and you can pencil his name in for the Freaks list this year. I love this kid. You said it, elite tester, 4.6 in the 40-yard dash, 4.2 in the short shuttle on the lasers, powerlifting background. I think he's got like a 565 back squat, two-way player. And kid was put on our radar. You're right. And I'm like, he's got no offers. What's going on here? I think Mississippi State was telling him not to report them, so people didn't find out about him. This is a big ad for Jeff Lebby in the sense that they're getting a guy that can get home on the edge. 20 sacks as a junior. You also played some offense. That tape's fun. 10 total touchdown catches there. Kind of one of those players where you just want to take them and then figure it out later. And then, Coop, if you think about Mississippi State when they were winning all those games, started up front with the pass rushers. And I think Tyshun Willis is a get that is not going to be talked about enough. That's a big, big win for them. He's got some juice on the edge. You can't coach up that twitch. And I'm a big, big fan. Also second at States in the shot put. I mean, he does it all.